Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. What we're going to be talking about today is how to become a software developer in 2021. I'm going to be giving you guys a pretty step-by-step process of what you guys can do right now, like starting today, if you genuinely want to become a software developer this year. This is also genuinely like what I would probably do if I started right now. I had zero coding experience and I wanted to become a software developer, right? So as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe down below. There's a ton of you guys that watch my videos that have not subscribed to the channel, so I would appreciate it if you guys hit the subscribe button down below. Let's get right into the video. Basically, the point of this video is I want to show you guys that these days, anyone can really become a software developer, and you don't have to go the traditional route. You don't have to go to college or a boot camp or stuff like that. You don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money. What you can do instead is, there's a ton of resources online that are available to you. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but there's definitely so many courses online that can teach you how to code and teach you how to code very well. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that, this journey of yours is going to take a while. I'm talking months, maybe a year. And the most important thing you can do if you're trying to learn how to code is just stay persistent and don't give up, right? Like if you think about it, 100% of the software developers that don't give up learning how to code eventually become developers, right? If you give up, then there's no chance of you succeeding, and odds are you're going to be very tempted to give up. It's pretty difficult. And there's a lot of things to learn, but if you just stick to it, stick to a plan, then there's no reason why you can't become a software developer, right? There's people all over the world becoming developers. There's people in third world countries becoming developers, right? And they don't have access to the best education in the world. And so if you're in the US or if you're in Canada, Europe, whatever, there's really no excuse, right? There's no reason you should fail if you genuinely try. And so on that note, talking about courses that are available, the first thing I would do right now, if I really wanted to learn how to code and become a software developer, is I would find a really, really good course online, right? What I would recommend personally is Free Code Camp. I've looked at it a ton, I've used it a bit, and it's a great resource. There's a ton of different topics. If you want to be a web developer, there's courses there for front-end development. If you want to be back-end, there's back-end courses, on a ton of different languages like JavaScript, Python. But basically what you want to do, let's take the example of you want to become a web developer, right? What you want to do is find a very good JavaScript course, HTML course, like JavaScript, HTML, CSS probably, and then really complete the course. Start the course, finish it, and what I'm talking about here is a timeline of maybe 2 or 3 months, right? You want to spend a couple of hours a day on a course, genuinely give it your most effort, complete all the modules, do all the tasks, all the projects, everything that is required to your best ability, and genuinely finish the course, right? There's a ton of people, I'm talking about probably the majority, that start courses and never end up finishing them. Then they go on to another course thinking that they're going to find a better one. They don't finish that and they just hop around from course to course. And what ends up happening is you're in tutorial hell, right? You're just doing tutorials, but you're not progressing on your path to become a software developer. So what you want to do a course, finish it, and then forget about it, right? Don't forget the content, but just don't do any more courses. If you genuinely took the time and found a good course, completed it, then you should have a solid understanding of whatever topic it is that you spent learning, right? So any good course is probably going to have a project or two for you to work on, maybe even more. But what you want to do is take one of the projects that you built during the course, right? So if it was front-end development, if you're learning JavaScript, they might have made you build a to-do list or something. And what you want to do after you're done this course is take a project, not a super simple one, not the most complicated, but just a good project, and then rebuild it using only your own knowledge, using Google, using stuff like YouTube, Stack Overflow, but basically rebuild the same project, but don't follow a tutorial. Okay, you want to take everything that you've learned during the course and then basically apply it in this project that you're going to build. And you don't want to use the tutorial because then you're basically just doing the tutorial again, right? You want to go on Google, go on Stack Overflow, and just spend some time genuinely trying to solve these problems, because you're going to run into bugs, you're going to run into different obstacles that you don't know how to solve, and you genuinely have to use your own intuition, online resources to solve it, but don't use the tutorial, okay? This is what being a software developer is basically like. Every day on the job, you run into a problem, you have to solve it, there's a bug or there's a new thing you have to add that you've never worked with before really, and you have to go online, usually Google, how do you do this? Go on Stack Overflow, find some sort of solution, and go from there, right? Any developer is going to be doing this every day, even if you're the most experienced, even if you're, a senior, whatever, VP of engineering, whatever you are, it's probably going to happen. And this is completely normal. The whole job of a software developer is to run into different problems and then figure out a way to solve them. And most of the time, that involves, looking on the internet, and finding different solutions there, and talking to different people. So after you're done the tutorial, rebuild one of the projects without using the tutorial and just apply your knowledge. Okay, this will probably take you a couple of weeks, and then once you're done this project, what you want to do is just push it live. Publish it somewhere, buy a domain if it's a website, if it's like an app that you were working on, submit it to the App Store. But you genuinely want to make it live, and you want to polish it and finish the project that you were working on, make it live, and then you will have started on a basic portfolio. Right, you have like one project under your belt, which most of the people that are trying to become software developers don't even get to that point, right? That where they're building their own stuff and they're working on their own code without following some tutorial. And once you have that down, once you have published the project, the next thing you want to do is kind of move on from like this basic step that you're at, right? So at this point, you maybe spent 4 or 5 months. You took a course on one kind of language or one certain topic that you're very interested in. And then you spent some time, building a project that you worked on during the course, but you built it yourself without using a tutorial. Now what you want to do is you want to look at, different jobs in your area, either in your area or, in companies you want to work at with technologies that you're interested in. You want to look at jobs that are hiring and like what they're looking for, okay? So if you want to be a front-end developer, odds are, they want you to learn React or Angular or Vue.js, like something like that. And so at this point, what you want to do is find another course that goes more in depth and is more complex, and will teach you, this next step that'll help you find a job, right? So instead of JavaScript, HTML, CSS, you're gonna wanna, take a React course or an Angular course. And this time, spend a bit less time. You wanna work, you don't wanna spend 3 months again, because that was like you're brand new to coding, you're learning what coding is. At this point, you're more experienced, so maybe spend a month and a half, whatever. It could be less, a couple of weeks. But basically what you wanna do is, learn a more in-depth language. And once you're done with that, you want to do exactly what you did before, right? So take the project you built before and completely rebuild it using the new thing you learned. So if you built a to-do list app first in the first course you took, then you rebuilt it using no tutorial, just online resources. Now, if you learned React, rebuild that using React. And I'm telling you guys, if you follow this process, you just do this, then at this point, you'll have a project under your belt. You'll have learned, a more in-demand language, like what we're talking about with React, and then you would have built a project with that. And at this point, genuinely, guys, you want to start like applying for jobs, right? And guys, the beauty of 2021 is that a lot of jobs are now remote, a lot more than before at least. And so what that results in is that you're not really that limited to where you live, right? If you live in like Saskatoon, or if you live in like Saskatoon or like Tennessee or like some random place that doesn't really have many tech jobs around, like you don't have to worry, because you can still apply to jobs in like Europe, in Silicon Valley, in the US, like wherever there are jobs available. So then you're not really limited to those technologies that are in your city. And so you can learn genuinely whatever you want, really, what interests you the most. And that's what I would recommend for you guys. Now, if your job is only front-end related, the one I've explained so far could be enough. But if you're going for more of a full stack, or if you're trying to, become a back-end developer, then, on top of, building a project and, going through a tutorial, going through a course, what you're going to want to do if you're applying to jobs is probably, spend some time, around a month or 2 extra, going through lead code, learning data structures and algorithms. And spending some time going on lead code and doing easy questions, medium questions, maybe even a couple of hard questions eventually once you get good enough. But the reason why you should practice this is because on a full stack or backend developer interview, there's most likely going to be some data structures, some algorithms questions, and if you're only practicing front end, then you won't really know how to solve those. And so that's what I recommend for you guys if you want to find a job in one of those 2 fields. But otherwise, what I've said should be enough. And basically, when you're applying to jobs, you don't want to just, apply and then wait and do nothing. You want to always be learning more. Maybe once you're done a project, build another project. You want to add a couple of projects to your portfolio, and then, you have a couple of projects under your belt. Not only will this help you learn how to code, but then, you'll have something to put on a resume. It'll make your resume look a lot better. During an interview, you'll have the chance of explaining your thought process, explaining the languages you used, just talking about your project. And what that tells the interviewer is that, you're genuinely passionate, you like coding, you're building your own projects, and you can talk about them. That's definitely a plus on your side, right? And another thing you're going to want to practice at the same time is stuff like the terminal, stuff like Git that maybe the course you took didn't teach you, but pushing stuff to a repository, it's basic terminal commands that'll make your life easier. I guarantee that'll help you a lot in getting a job as well. But basically, guys, I think that if you do what I did in this video, then you shouldn't have much trouble finding a job. The only thing is that it's not going to be quick, and it's going to take a long time. It's going to take definitely over 6 months to a year. And it's going to be hard. You're going to have to spend every day coding, for at least an hour or two. I definitely recommend that. If it's less than an hour, you're not really going to retain the information, but you want to be coding all the time. You want to be learning all the time. And trust me, guys, 6 months down the road, you have a project on your belt. You've taken 2 courses, and you genuinely know how to code. You can go from someone who has 0 experience to someone who has a couple of projects, and then that'll help you find a job so much faster. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video, guys. Becoming a software developer these days, it's still hard, don't get me wrong. Like, when I say it's not that hard, what I'm trying to say is it's not as hard as you think. A lot of people think you have to be a genius, you have to be amazing at math, you have to go to some next college, you have to go to like Harvard or Waterloo or whatever, the best college you can get into. That's not really true, especially not these days, guys. There's so many courses. I've spent a decent amount of time making a couple of videos on my channel, reviewing anywhere from Free Code Camp to Treehouse, a ton of different platforms. Check out those videos, and maybe that'll help you guys find your own type of course that you're interested in. But there's something out there for everyone, even if you're not like a visual learner. If you just like reading, there's courses like that. If you're more of a visual learner and you want to watch videos, there's courses like that. So there's really something for everyone, and if you want to become a developer, you definitely can. It's just going to take a long time, and you're going to have to not give up, right? And also, one of the most important things, let me say it again, is don't take a ton of tutorials. Take one, go through it, throw it away, never take it again, and just use what you learned. Don't hop from tutorial to tutorial. That's a straight, surefire way to never becoming a software developer. All right, guys, so I really hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, if you enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much, and you can always unsubscribe, right? So leave a comment down below if you think there's anything I missed, if there's anything you want to add, and I'll definitely respond to you guys. As always, enjoy your coding, and have a good day.